Holy cow.
It's
Y'all, we had like 250 people sign up for this.
That's awesome.
Oh my gosh, this is amazing. Jen, oh my gosh, I know so many of you. This is awesome. Jen, oh my gosh, I know so many of you.
Do you feel chill now?
Hello. Hi, everyone. Hi. We'll just kind of let people filter in here. Slowly, the screen is building with faces. Oh my gosh, this is amazing. Hello. Let's give everyone about 30 more seconds. Oh my gosh, all of you might recognize me. Let me know in here. Trina, is that Trina or
Oh, sorry, Lindsay, I muted you. I meant to mute just like everybody because there was so much chatter, but you can unmute yourself.
Okay. All right. Are we muting people?
Just for the chatter, because I was getting a lot of feedback and I couldn't hear anything. But we don't have to, if you're talking, unmute yourself. I'd love to hear from you.
All right. Well, there's about 72 out of 250 who signed up, but it's about 5:32 now. So we'll start rolling. Hello, everyone. Welcome. Thank you so much. This is an incredible turnout. I'm Lindsey Richter with Ladies All Ride. Hopefully a lot of you know me because I promoted it on our channels and boom, here you are. And I'm joined by Sam Crow here. She's out of Ogden, Utah. She's a mountain bike coach. She was just telling me that she's learning how to do avalanche safety to try to train people how to teach people avalanche safety. So you got two women here trying to bust into those male-dominated worlds. But yeah, those of you who don't know me, I run the Ladies All Ride mountain bike skills camps. We're sponsored by Live and SRAM. We run mountain bike skills camps all over the country. We've been doing it for over a decade now. And you know, a lot of what we do is coaching mountain bike skills, but it's also counseling and teaching people how to think when they ride. Mountain biking is a super challenging sport, as we all know. It comes with some intimidation. It can drum up some fears and some feelings, and a lot of how we perform on the bike relies on how much we practice skills, but also the way we think. And I think a lot of us know as women, we tend to maybe overthink things. Maybe we're really hard on ourselves. I know personally, I can get some real bad negative self-talk in there. It's taken me a long time to really understand how to hear my thoughts and how to identify what's going on in my head and to realize that my thoughts can really hold me back. So I'm really excited. Sam reached out to me earlier in the year because she's been doing these amazing workshops. She has a really good handle on all of this. And we're super stoked to hear from her about how we can tackle these demons in our head, because the way we think really affects the way we ride. If we're thinking, I don't want to hit that tree, I don't want to hit that tree, we're most likely going to hit that tree. So learning how to think thoughts that serve us, that keep our wheels rolling forward, not only on the bike, but also in life, is really, I think, going to benefit all of us. And having actual tools and things to do to combat those fears and to change those thoughts to positive is a really important thing to do. So I'm really just going to turn it over to Sam, and I'll interject here and there, and she might open it up for questions. We'll see how it goes, but Sam, take it away.
Yay. Oh my gosh. Thank you so much, Lindsay, for welcoming me into your community. This is so freaking excited. And this is definitely the largest workshop I've ever ran. So I was telling Lindsay before we got started here that, and I'm going to mute everyone again, just because we have some shuffling going on. So Lindsay, make sure you unmute yourself again. Perfect. Okay. So this is the largest workshop I've ever done. So usually we have a lot of community integration and talk within it, but with 200 signups, I was like, we might have to stick that into the chat for tonight. So I really want an active chat tonight. And Lindsay is going to be keeping an eye on that for us and answering some questions within that. And if you have any questions for me personally, she's going to interject and let me know when those come up. So feel free to still put your input in there. We would love to hear from you. And let's dive in. I'm going to share my screen. I'm a few slides ahead here. Okay, so this mountain mindset workshop is all about building mental resilience out on your bike. Or if some of you aren't mountain bikers, which I couldn't imagine, coming from Ladies All Ride, I imagine all of you are mountain bikers in some capacity, but you can supplement this into any of the activities that you do out in the mountains. And mental resilience to me means being able to tap into these tools, into my nervous system in a really healthy way, out on my bike, out on the trail, and out in the mountains when I need it the most. Okay, so what we're going to cover, first, we're going to start with a visualization practice, which is super, super powerful. This is going to uncover our why. Why are we doing this in the first place? What drives us? What is our passion? What is going to help us through those hard moments and those moments where we're like, what the heck are we doing out here? And then we're also going to be covering the 4 most common mindset blocks and tools. So that's going to be overwhelm. Like, I don't even know where to start. There are so many steps in between me and letter Z that it's overwhelming. Mentorship or lack of guidance, negative self-talk, and fear. Primarily the fear of falling, because that's what I've heard a lot of people have a lot of fears with. And let me let some more people in here. Okay. So you may want to grab a journal and journal and pen, or piece of paper, some writing utensil. And then if you're not already, find a really comfortable and quiet space. Maybe turn your phone on airplane mode for this workshop so that there's less distraction, less noise around us. That's going to help us really tap into this visualization practice a little bit deeper. And if this is your first insight into visualization and meditation, it might be a little bit weird. But I'm going to have a recording of this, so make sure you come back to it if you aren't able to get into it the way that you would like to, and revisit it and see what comes up for you. Okay, so in the chat, I want you all to introduce yourself. What's your name? What's your home mountain or the place that you like to ride bikes the most? Your favorite summer and winter activity, which I'm sure is going to be mountain biking and maybe something else, and what you're most excited to learn tonight. Okay. We finally hit the number 100. We have 100 participants in here. That is amazing. Hi, Melissa, and hi, Stephanie. So I'll let you kind of go through that, maybe meet some new friends in this. Ladies All Ride has such a beautiful community and a very engaged community. That means people are actively on there looking and learning and sharing. And so it's such a beautiful place to meet other riders and maybe connect with other people, even across seas. So yes, awesome. We've got Michigan, we've got McCall, Idaho. I have a friend in McCall. I love that place so, so much. Whistler, Bend, Oregon, Chicago.
Gosh, y'all from all over the place.
Yay. Oh, this makes my heart so happy. We're connecting from so many different places tonight. That is the beauty of Zoom and Instagram. Like, you can meet some really rad people that otherwise you might have not had the privilege to meet. Mesa, Arizona, BC, Ontario. Holy moly.
Kai says
All right.
Summer, mountain bike, winter, cookies and beer.
Yes, cookies and beer for winter.
Oh my gosh, this is so awesome, y'all. South Australia. Wow.
Winter is a time of reflection and coming back into yourself. So I love that cookies and beer.
She's ready to tackle the brain goblins. I hear you.
Yes.
We all have them. We all have them. Let's just all be real here. That's one thing that we can all relate to is we're not alone in this. We all have some crazy thoughts in our heads that we're like, what? Where did you come from?
Mm-hmm. And mountain biking has this really beautiful and terrible way of bringing them out in us a little bit. They are a magnifier of maybe our fears or insecurities. And it's a really beautiful place to start tackling these fears, because it may be a little bit harder to tackle these fears in your career or in your personal life, or something that maybe you have a little bit more history to or identity tied to. So mountain biking, when we start making these shifts within mountain biking, you'll inevitably see it make shifts in your everyday life, which is So freaking powerful. Okay, keep them coming in. I'm going to move the chat over. And let's start getting into our meditation and visualization state of mind here. So making sure that everything is silenced, that we need to, finding a comfortable position, and starting to elongate the breaths. We're going to close down our eyes, ground into our sit bones. Maybe getting any fidgets or wiggles out that need to be released. Maybe you've been holding on to them all day and haven't even realized it until this moment. Shaking is something that definitely helps with completing the stress cycle. We'll talk about that more later. But getting those fidgets out real quick, and when you're ready, coming to stillness, placing the palms down in your lap for more grounding. Softening the belly. Let all the air out of your lungs. On your next inhale, breathe deep into the belly through your nose. Hold at the top for just a moment. Checking in. And release through your mouth. Few more of those into a soft belly. Creating space. Hold at the top. And slowly let it out through your mouth. 2 more rounds into your belly through your nose. Hold. And slowly release through your mouth. Last one, even deeper. Hold at the top. And slowly release. Taking note of the simple changes that just occurred within just a minute of breathing and checking in. Knowing you have the power to do this at any time. Releasing the breath back to its natural rhythm. I want you to start to bring a visualization to mind of your perfect day out in the mountains, whether that be on your bike, out running, backpacking, skiing, whatever that looks like to you right now. Your perfect day out in the mountains. Starting to pull things in. Feeling the sun, the snow, the wind. The leaves, the dirt, the snow beneath your feet, beneath your tires. Looking all around you. The trees, the bodies of water, the sounds of leaves rustling. Anything that comes to mind, start to paint that picture in as much detail as you can. Even down to what you're wearing. And now I want you to start bringing in people if they are contributing to this experience. Maybe this is a solo day, but if not, who is around you? What do they contribute to this experience? And what are your strengths? What are you contributing to this experience? Just naturally by being there. How are you feeling in this moment, in this perfect day? What is standing out to you? What catches your eye, catches your mind? Starting to pull those features out to you, these importance, these whys, anchor into them, let them seep into your body, bringing them closer to your heart. About what is making this day so special. If you're a visual person, take a mental snapshot of this moment. And even if you're not, give it a try. Inhaling into your belly, that nice soft belly. And as you exhale, the visualization dissolves. When you're ready, bringing your chin to your chest, giving gratitude to yourself for coming here today and for the community for showing up today, for Lindsey, for Ladies All Ride, and all that it stands for and all that it means in the community that is brought together. When you're ready, blinking your eyes open and coming back to the space. Okay, awesome. So taking a moment to go inward, that might have been really, really monumental for some of you. For some of you, you might have been like, I got nothing. That was really weird. And that's okay. That's okay. We're at a starting point here, right? We are trying to quiet the external noise around us to find out what's really important to us individually, not what's important to our friends, not what's important to our partner, but why we are doing this thing. Why are we out on our bikes? Why does it drive us? Why are we so passionate about it? Why are we here today? So I'm curious for you all, what was your why? What really stood out to you? And I would love to hear that in the chat. We're probably going to have some overlaps within that. So for me, mountain biking, and I hope you have your why, so I don't change that for you at all by stating mine. But for me, it means freedom and connection. Those are the two pieces that mountain biking gives me that I thrive in. I love the freedom it gives me. I can go all over the place with my bike, and I can experience that sense of freedom, whether that be on a green trail or a double black trail, whatever that looks like. I feel free on my bike. It also connects me further to myself, to my friends and everybody around me, and to nature itself. That's a really big why. And it's taken me some time to get that, to really hone in on that. But now that I have that, I'm able to tap back into that when times get really, really hard and challenging. Joy, empowerment, sisterhood, outdoors, freedom, and feeling strong. Break from technology and chaos. I love that. Stress release. I can accomplish so much. Friends and fellowship, feeling alive. Yeah, when we move our bodies, sometimes we forget how powerful we are, what power we harness. Conquering obstacles. Yeah, letting you know that you're capable of really hard things. Yes. Encouraged, peaceful. I love that. So remember those. Maybe write those down on a separate sheet of paper in really bold writing. So that
Y'all
you
should read everyone's. It's pretty empowering to just read what everybody goes through, you know?
Mhm. Yeah. Mm. I love it.
Calming the monkey mind. Isn't that so true? The more technical the trail, the quieter my mind. Isn't that a conundrum?
That's so true. That is so true. It really calls for all of your focus. Yes. Yes, definitely go through people's and see all the different whys, because it might even be like an awareness for you of like, oh, that's one of my whys too. And I've seen Trina, she raised her hand. If you want to put your question in the box there, Lindsey will get to it and then we'll make sure that we cover that for you. Okay.
Feel free to direct message me as well.
Totally. Okay, let's start to dive into those blocks and tools. So the blocks we're going to be going over: overwhelm, mentorship, negative self-talk, and fear of falling. So I'm curious, like, which one holds you back the most? And if it's not one of these, I actually still really want to know, because I'm constantly expanding my own coaching and my own research and my own knowledge. And I'm sure Lindsey is too. We're constantly learning new things every time we go out with people. So if there is something other than these that we could address in another capacity, I would love to do that. But let me know which ones are going to be the blocks that you most face. So starting with overwhelm, like, yikes, where do I even start? I'm at letter A and I've got to get all the way to X, Y, Z. And that's really, really hard. So overwhelm can lead to, and these are like little flags for you. So if you're feeling that you're seeing these flags pop up in your everyday life, on your bike, or just daily life, this might be a sign of overwhelm. So if we start with self-sabotaging behaviors, you know that, like, and I put avoidance and procrastination, that's kind of similar. So when you have something to do, you all of a sudden that you don't want to do, you all of a sudden have 100 other things that could be done in that moment. So I've really wanted to train for this like big trail race, this 50K mountain bike race, or whatever that looks like for you. And that's like a really big leap from A to Z, right? So we're going to self-sabotage and be like, actually, I should really stay home and clean instead of train today. I've actually have so many things on my to-do list that I could get done instead of train for this today. So letting it, you know, when you see these avoidance and procrastination things come up for you, this could be a sign of overwhelm. So how can we start to move out of that? It can also lead to decision paralysis when we don't know where to start. And there's so many places in which we could start. We decide that making no decision is our choice. And when you don't make a choice, you are making a choice. Inevitably is what happens. Or quitting before you start. The overwhelm is so heavy, so blinding, that we decide that we're not even going to start. And that is the most heartbreaking. I'd rather you procrastinate for a little bit and then start than not start at all, or not give it a try. So the antidote for overwhelm is always going to be different depending on how severe it is and what it is all about. So mentorship is a huge piece of this. So Ladies All Ride, their coaching clinics, if your overwhelm is on like building your skills and going on like more technical terrain and technical features, and you're a very beginner, that's going to be really overwhelming. And having mentorship through people like Ladies All Ride is going to be super helpful for that. And if you're not sure how to find that, depending on what area it's in, definitely let us know. But Instagram is a great place. Facebook groups are a great place. Local community events are an awesome place to start. Local shops. all those places. So make sure when we're putting ourselves out there, like we have to be the ones to reach out the olive branch sometimes first and be like, hey, I'm trying this thing. How do you feel about helping me through this? You got to start that conversation, even when it feels a little uncomfortable. But reach out to a mentor. Get honest about your current time, space, and energy expenditures. This is a huge one. Sometimes we like to add more to our plate when our plate is already like overflowing with all the things that we need to do. So being really honest with yourself about how much time do I have to allot to this? Is it what I want to? If not, can I delegate some other things, or can I change this to fit my time schedule where I'm at right now? Energy expenditures. So just because we have the time doesn't necessarily mean that we have the energy to do this. And that's okay. But how can we start to create that energy? Maybe hold on to some of that energy for ourselves instead of giving it all away to our kids, our family, our career, and maybe saving some of that energy for ourselves, if possible. Where could that happen? Where could we start to make that happen? And then lastly, breaking it down step by step, one step at a time, slowly but surely. Oftentimes we look at Z and we're like, that's years and forever down the road. But what if we look at B? And then we look at C, and then we look at D, and so on and so forth. We won't go through the whole alphabet. I won't bore you all with that. And then if it needs a little bit further attention, we have goal mapping, which is just my way of saying we are creating goals in a very intentional way. So if this is a goal that can be a SMART goal, so specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time-bound, awesome, we want that. If this is a goal of like, hey, I just want to get more confident on my bike, what objective goal could encompass that for you? So if I want to get more confident on my bike, I would probably ride that blue trail at the bike park. And now how can I start moving myself towards that? Okay, I'm going to have to be able to do a small 1 foot drop, or I'm going to have to be able to ride over technical terrain, breaking that trail down step by step, working on smaller features to work your way up to those bigger features and breaking it down that way. But if you have a goal that maybe is a little bit more subjective, maybe a little bit more emotionally driven, how can we put that into a more objective goal that encompasses that feeling for us? And then what are the steps in between your goals? So all those milestones, and really labeling those milestones. Because when we have those milestones, that'll let us know that, yes, we are in fact progressing. If we're not seeing progression, we're probably going to stop. That's just human nature. If we don't see ourselves like actually hitting those milestones, hitting those markers, there's not a lot of drive left for us to keep going. So making sure that we have those really clear milestones on what we want to get to that goal so that we can check those off as we go and let ourselves know, yes, we are on our way to Z. When would you like to achieve each milestone by and the end goal by? So if we are able to make this time bound, amazing, because that means that we can put in our schedule and we can make that stuff happen.
I think it's really important too for people to understand that it's little tiny progressions should be celebrated. Every little thing adds up to a bigger thing. And we see so many people come to our camps and like, well, no way can I wheelie. There's just no way. And even that tiny little wheelie that got that wheel off the ground 2 inches is something to celebrate, because that means, yes, you can do it. You may not have done it as big as someone else, but that's called comparison, and we don't do that. So just being reminded that the little accomplishments really are things to celebrate because they add up over time.
100%. And if we're not celebrating and enjoying the process along the way, what are we doing? We should be celebrating those little moments, those little wheelies, because that is a first for us. That is our next step. That is a milestone that is getting us to the place that we want to go. Sometimes we are so focused on Z, we forget about all the rest of the little celebrations and wins along the way. What support will help you to reach this goal? So you don't have to do this by yourself. I mean, if anything, it's a lot more fun to bring some other people into it. So sometimes that might be setting up boundaries for yourself or your family members or your partners, or just like simply letting them know, hey, I have this goal by the end of this season to do X, Y, Z. And just letting the 5 people around you know, like your 5 closest people, that you are in fact moving in this trajectory helps them support you and maybe ask you about it. Like, hey, how is that going? What's happening? I'm so curious. Or maybe it gives them an opportunity to join you. Maybe they have a similar goal that you can be accountability buddies along the way, which is super, super helpful. Finding a coach like Lindsey and her coaching team, a friend. Do you need any gear? Do we need some more gear acquired before we're able to do this? Maybe a gym membership to do some supplemental strength training along the side, and a journal. I really like having a specific journal if you have a really big goal, to document your process along the way and celebrate those wins along the way. We also need to plan for the hiccups, for the hard times, for those times that we maybe hit a roadblock. Because if we plan for them now, they won't stop us later. So say we have, and also reframing what winning means to you. So sometimes life has these unexpected things that happen that we can't control. We had to put off training for a month. We had a big family event happen that we needed to set aside time for. Awesome. We want to be consistent, not rigid with this. So if we can step away from that for a moment and still call that a win and then come back, awesome. But let's plan for those hiccups, for those life events, and what we can reframe winning to be. And how would you like to feel through this process? This is one of the most important steps and very often overlooked. Do you want to feel energetic and motivated and vibrant through this process? Or do you want to be dragging yourself along, like slowly but surely in that process? No, we probably want to feel really energetic and vibrant. How can we support ourselves in making ourselves feel that way? That's probably going to be making sure we're getting proper nourishment, hydration, sleep, recovery, making sure we aren't skipping those rest days. Those rest days are super important. And I've actually added an extra rest day this season to my schedule. And I have not seen any setbacks. If anything, I've seen improvements because I show up so much harder and so much stronger in the days that I do show up. So I'm not going to tell you how many because I don't want you to compare yourself to me, but I have added an extra rest day, and it is okay to do that in different seasons of your life. How can I integrate my why into this? So remember that why? Okay, we're going to integrate this into the goal mapping process. If your why is connection, how can we integrate more connection to ourselves, our friends, our partners into this process? If your why is freedom, on those rides, I want you to start thinking about freedom. How do I feel free in this moment? How is this bringing me closer to my values, closer to my why? And like I said, be consistent, not rigid.
I think it's important too to think about goals can change, y'all. They don't have to stay the same. Like I'm almost 50, I'm not the same person I was in my 20s or my 30s or even my 40s. I think catching 3 inches of air feels so amazing. I do not have goals to go much bigger than that. And I'm okay with that. And I ride with a lot of people who can jump over my head, so I think it's really important. I saw a lot of you, I was reading your comments of what holds you back. And a lot of it, one big one that came up for me was shame. I feel shame when I can't do things my friends can do. And at some point we have to let go of that, because I'm not going to be the same kind of rider I was in my 40s as I probably will be in my 50s. I coach a lot of women in their 50s and their 60s. And we get older, our bodies break down a little bit. Things happen. It's, my boyfriend likes to say to me, you're not special. We're all aging, So I think it's really important to have realistic goals and to be okay if those goals change. I may have had goals 10 years ago of hitting that big drop in Whistler. And now I don't give a shit about that drop in Whistler. I just want to get down the trail really smooth and have a really good time with my friends and feel really accomplished that I can even ride a mountain bike. So I hope that a lot of you are sitting here thinking about your goals and being lenient with yourself if you need to shift them around a little bit, because that's okay. We all do.
Yes. I love that. You have permission to change your mind and also to change and evolve yourself. You're not who you were 10 years ago. You're not who you were 15 years ago. You're not even who you were yesterday. Things are going to change. And that's the beauty of being human. Okay, next, lack of guidance and mentorship. How can I learn what I don't know? Right? So what this can lead to is creating bad habits. I'm sure we've seen, Lindsey, you've seen this within your coaching clinics. Sometimes we're unlearning the habits we've learned for years, like cornering. Cornering is a huge one where we learn the wrong habits, right? So when we have lack of guidance, we tend to pick up some bad habits or just like the things that get us by. Feels like you are running in circles, chasing your tail around. Like you're not sure what direction you're going, if you're heading in the right direction, if you're even heading forward, if there is a forward, and being thrown into the deep end too soon. It is not an uncommon story for a beginner mountain biker to go out with their more experienced friend on a blue to black trail and go over the handlebars. Our friends like to throw us in the deep end and let us know what they think we are capable of before we are capable of it, which is really like, oh, you think I'm capable of that? Awesome. But no. So when we don't have proper mentorship and guidance, these are what it can lead to. So if you feel like you have had yourself thrown into the deep end, that you have created some bad habits, that you are running in circles, this could be a sign of lack of guidance, a lack of mentorship. So the antidote for this one is, well, first, let's go to you DIYers who are like, I can do everything on my own, the soloist. I don't need any help. I will teach myself. Awesome. I'm glad that you feel so independent, but is that going to be helpful for where you want to go? Is that going to get you where you want to go? What if there was a little bit of an easy button? Why wouldn't you take that? Why wouldn't you take that clinic and be like, hey, this is going to help me get to where I am. I know typically I'm a DIYer, but I'm going to just give it a go. Maybe just try it on. Try on some mentorship. Try on some coaching. Try on asking for help. Because some of us don't like doing that. And I know I used to be there.
Someone
Reach out
said,
to
I don't bounce as well as I used to. Learning by crashing doesn't sound fun anymore.
No.
When was it ever fun to learn by crashing?
Never.
It's
Never.
not. Nobody wants to crash. I don't want to crash.
No, that is not fun. So what if we could skip a few crashes? Yeah, let's do that. Reach out to a friend. So this is like with an asterisk on it. Reach out to a friend who knows that you're a beginner, who knows that you're trying to build some really good habits, who knows that you want to ease into this like a normal person, like anybody else would. Join local ride days and events. I can't stress more getting in touch with your local community and their different ride days if and when they're available, because you're going to create such big, like really strong friendships within that. Be in touch with your community and surrounding area, and maybe you'll be able to contribute to that a little bit and help out on the trail systems, like volunteering for a trail day, really good way to meet some friends and also give back to the trails that you ride every day. Hire a coach, sign up for a course or class, and then YouTube double asterisks. So I put YouTube on there because, yeah, for you DIYers, YouTube can be helpful. However, anybody can post on YouTube. That means you're going to get some incorrect information sometimes. Also, we can go down the YouTube rabbit hole and watch a million different videos and then be like, what did we just watch? What are we working on this ride? So if you are going to be doing YouTube videos, picking one maybe to go with, maybe somebody that you trust in that has these really good, awesome, videos that really speak to you, and picking one at a time to work on. We don't want to pick more than that. We don't want to confuse our brains and overwhelm ourselves. But YouTube is double asterisk because we can get into some pretty deep rabbit holes and get some incorrect information. But it can be helpful, and it has helped me in the past. All right, my favorite, the negative self-talk. It all starts with how you talk to yourself. Your thoughts become your words, become your actions, becomes your reality. I'm sure we've all heard that to some extent, yeah? So when we're having these negative thoughts, this negative self-talk inside our head, what do you think happens? What are we creating for ourselves? We're probably putting disclaimers on ourselves. Hey, just to let you know, I'm really slow. I really suck at this. I ain't good. And then how do we show up? Slow and not good and unconfident. That is our reality. So let's start with that negative self-talk. What it leads to is less curiosity and playfulness. So when we first got into these sports, maybe it was like really fun. We did this because we enjoyed that. We enjoyed biking. We enjoyed the process. If you see that starting to dwindle away, I want you to first check your negative self-talk. What is happening? What is happening in here? Also check your group, because sometimes it can be an external influence as well. What you love becoming a chore. So instead of mountain biking being fun, you're like, hey, 5 o'clock, just got done with work. I guess I'll go ride my bike because that's what I'm supposed to do today. It's on my checklist. Don't let it become a chore. And then lack of confidence. When we're speaking negatively to ourselves, therefore, we're going to show up with less confidence. That antidote is first awareness. If we're not aware of this negative self-talk, how can we change it? You can't. You simply can't. So we need to first become aware of it before we can do anything about it. So on your next ride, on your next tour, on your next run, on your next hike, whatever it is, start to become aware of how this inner dialogue is playing out. What stories are you telling yourself? What endless mixtape have you created? What is it saying? I'm so slow. I'll never be able to do that. Why are they so much faster? I feel like I should be keeping up with them. It's just because I suck. I've never been good at endurance. Pay attention to what they're saying. And then if you want to take it the next step further, ask yourself, is this important to me? So if it is, I am so slow. Is it important to me to get faster right now? Or am I just working on my skills? Like truly ask yourself, is this important to me right now that I am a little bit slower? Probably not. We are just making our way through this process at our own pace. If yes, okay, how can we move closer to that? We're going to go back to that goal mapping. And we're going to say, okay, we want to get faster. How do we do that? What goal can we put in place for ourselves to start creating that reality for ourselves? Be objective about it. Create those milestones, create those celebrations, that whole process. Let's move closer to it and stop this negative spiral of thinking that we'll never get there. Most often, it is not important to you. It's just this endless mixtape that we have not been in account for years and years and years, and it has just had free reign. So if no, then what is important to you right now? That could be your why. Your why is a really good anchor. Or maybe your why changed for that day, and we want to focus on that. So a real life example, I went out with my husband in Logan. We were doing a really long ride. He's a, what do they call it? Energizer bunny, the go-go-goer, can go 1,000,000 miles an hour for 1,000,000 days in a row. And I can't. That is not how I'm built. And I've actually learned to really embrace that within myself. However, the negative self-talk train was on that day. I was like, man, I've been training hard this year and I feel like I'm still slow. And I had this go on for probably 15 minutes before I noticed it. Once I noticed it, I was like, okay, Sam, why are you here right now? Why are you on this trip? Why are you on this mountain bike trip? Why are you here? I was like, to take a break, to relax, to reconnect with myself, to feel that freedom again. Cool. How can you start doing that? By looking around more, by feeling my bike on the ground, by going at my own pace, by taking a picture of those things that I want to take a picture of along the way because they're so beautiful. Creating that space for yourself. And when all else fails, we don't have time to go through that whole thought process in our head. We don't want to go through all of that. Replace that broken record with a cut the shit mantra. This cut the shit mantra is one of my favorites. It's something that I actually use out in the field probably once a week to twice a week. It used to be daily. But now I've gotten to the point to where I've managed my negative self-talk to where it's a little bit more positive, and that's really good, but it takes time. So the cut the shit mantra, mine was, I'm powerful, I'm confident, I am strong. Create it to speak to you, to your insecurities, to what you're feeling like you're lacking in that moment. So I took I'm powerful, I'm confident, I'm strong, because I was feeling the opposite of all of those. So I started to tell myself my new reality. I'm powerful, I'm confident, I'm strong. I'm powerful, I'm confident, I'm strong. Confident, I'm strong. And
It's
that's
such a good tool, y'all. I'm seeing all these messages coming in that are, I'm afraid to slow the group down. I'm always last. It hurts my feelings to be last. Somebody has to be last. It's just the way it is. And lately, before I go on group rides, like with friends, I go with a lot of friends who I don't coach with and I don't ride with very often, who are maybe newer to mountain biking. And of course, the first thing they say is, well, I don't want to go with you. I mean, you're so fast. What makes you think that I care? What makes you think that I don't want to just be out there with my friends sharing this experience? And let's be real, y'all, at the end of the day, it's just you and your bike. And I wish I could get that through to more people. The bonding experience we have when we mountain bike is with you and your bike, how you handle your bike, the strength that you have within, the ability to quiet your mind and be one with nature and be in the moment. That's what matters most. If you're worrying about keeping up or that you're going to be last, you are taking your head out of the reason you are riding in the first place. And I know that it takes a lot to be okay being the last person. And lately I've been saying to these women who I don't ride with very often, okay, let's go around the circle. And I want everyone to tell me what you're insecure about before we go on this ride, because I'm not kidding you. 10 out of 10 times when I go ride on groups with women, or when I ride with groups of women, someone always says, well, I'm not feeling that strong today. I'll go in the back. Well, oh, you're going to have to wait for me. There's always some chatter that basically is insecurities coming to the surface. So I'm like, all right, let's all tell each other what we're insecure about. Now let's all ask each other if we give a fuck if you are last. No, we don't. We are so happy that we're all out here together, and that if we're waiting for you, we're probably having a snack, chatting about the fact that I almost ate shit on that corner, or did you get up that one route? I didn't. Like, there's so much ego that surrounds this whole fear of being the last person. And it comes down to the way you think, and you've got to stop worrying about being last, because I would celebrate being last and be like, I'm last, somebody's got to do it. Here I come. So let's kind of drop that fear of being last, because if that's holding you back from going on rides, then that's just going to take you out of the sport altogether. Someone has to be last. Be stoked if you're that person.
100%. Yes. And what a beautiful gift to give that group of saying like, hey, what is everyone's insecurities today? Opening that floor. And honestly, like something super powerful and like vulnerable that you can do with your group is be the first to say something. Like, be the first to be vulnerable. Be like, hey, I'm feeling a little insecure about XYZ today. Hey, I'm really like just nervous about this ride. I just wanted to like let you in on that, because I have found the more I express my feelings and my energy levels and everything that day, it allows others to do the same. And that is a gift.
Mountain biking's vulnerable, and it's okay. It's okay to be vulnerable. And if everyone can just admit their insecurities and just be vulnerable together, that's the beautiful thing about this sport. There's so many components to mountain biking that are dangerous and scary and intimidating. And if we can just kind of get rid of the fear of being last, not being good enough, not able to make that route climb. You know how many climbs I've made 100 times that I can't make anymore, and I could beat myself up all day long, but I just go, well, shit, guess I don't make that anymore. Oh, well. You've got to let it go, because the fact that you all ride a mountain bike in the first place is awesome, and it's going to change over time, but we've just got to be easy on ourselves and celebrate the fact that we even like riding mountain bikes, because we're a very small population in this world, and that's rad.
Yes. And it takes time and practice and repetition, like building this mindset of it's okay to be last. So don't expect you to just walk away from this workshop and be like, I'm okay with being last now. Yes. But start the process.
Read the
because-
comments, everyone. There's so many women on here saying, I'm always last. I don't care. I sweep. I'm able to work on track stands. Slow is hard.
Yes.
You are supported here. One of my best friends is always last. And she's just like, it is what it is. I'm always last. No big deal.
Yeah. Yeah. Let's take the shame away from being last, y'all. When that last person comes into the group, if that's you or somebody else, be like, fuck yeah. Excuse my language, excuse my French. Frick yeah, let's go and celebrate. Okay, and then finally, the fear of falling. I want to, but I'm scared. What it leads to is a progression plateau. So when we're afraid of falling or from like a previous experience, sometimes that can stop us from progressing for a little bit. And that is a natural cycle of it. I want you all to know that like after you've fallen, it's okay to hit a plateau for a little bit and rebuild up that confidence or even take a dip within our skills. That is very natural and that is okay. And you're going to come back. Frustration of, I know I can, why am I not? And then more falling. So when we're afraid of falling, like Lindsey said in the very beginning, like if we're looking at that tree, if we're looking at the rock and we're really afraid of hitting that and going over our handlebars, we're probably going to do that. Our thoughts become our words, become our actions, become a reality. So the antidote is first checking the ego. Am I doing this because this is what I should be doing, what my group expects me to, because so-and-so did it, because I've compared myself to somebody else? Sometimes it's hard to decipher. If it's hard to decipher, it's probably a yes in the ego situation. If it's something that you just really want to do, you're going to want to do it. You're going to feel really good about it. And you're going to take the time to work up to that. But know that this one moment, this one feature, this one trail, this one ride does not define you. There are going to be so many more rides. There are going to be so many more chances. If today does not feel like the day to get that drop that you said you were going to do today, fine. Fine. Guess what? You're still a badass mountain biker. Check in with
apologizing. I say at my camps, you can cry all day long. Crying is totally acceptable, but there is no apologizing. Joanna Yates is on here somewhere. She preaches it too. No apologizing. That's just, if you apologize in my class, you get a timeout. You sit in a corner.
Yes. Setting yourself up for success. Build trust by slowing down and sessioning smaller objectives that are similar so that we can be proactive when we're going over these features, when we can be in control of our body and its movements instead of reactive to the terrain. And yes, we are going to be reactive to the terrain in some capacity, especially when we're going high speeds and we're like, no. However, if we can be more proactive and keep this prefrontal cortex online to make some positive decisions for ourselves when things are flying by really fast, awesome. If we're in this reptilian mammalian brain and we are just focusing on surviving and gripped and tight as like a stick figure on that bike, things might not end so well. So setting yourself up for success by building trust within your skills. Session that small step. Just because you hit that small drop once doesn't mean we're ready to go to the next one or that you should be ready to go to the next one. Hit that one again and again and again and again and again until you're sick of it. And then move on to the next one. Calming the nervous system down. This is the biggest one. This is the most powerful one. This is the one that you can take with you anywhere you go. You can pack it with you on your trip. Breath. So even that like first meditation that we did, the visualization, I hope you all were able to get into it into a way where you were able to see that shift within 30 seconds, y'all. And come back into our bodies, come back into our prefrontal cortex, come back into our minds. It doesn't take long. It doesn't have to be super like, I have to do 4x4x4x4 box breathing. Just slow down your exhales. Focus on those exhales. I really like the shaking one, and it's super weird at first, but y'all, it works. Like just this. You'll notice yourself like do it. Yes. Yes, Lindsay. You'll notice yourself do that naturally sometimes when you came close to crashing or something. You'll like step off your bike and be like, whoa, let it all out. Why stop there? Let it all out. And actually my friends and I, it was weird at first for some of my friends, like I was like, just shake it out. And then when I finally would do it with them, they're like, oh, I see, I get this now. The horse lips. So just letting your lips go soft. Super helpful because again, you're focusing on those exhales, you're softening your jaw, you're softening your face when you do that. It can help a lot. And I'll do that while riding my bike. Like me and a friend of mine, like, well, there's a trail that we do it on almost the whole trail because we're like holding on, and it's a really fun trail, but it stimulates our nervous system. So we're just down the whole thing and we're laughing the whole time because it brings humor to it too. If you can bring humor into these situations and laugh and fun, awesome. Laugh at the mistakes, laugh at being last, laugh at all the different things and all the course and all the beautiful components of mountain biking. Laugh at falling if it doesn't hurt too bad, because everybody does it. And then lastly, if our nervous system has gotten away from us, if we're even in the realm of panic attack, a super powerful move is the butterfly hug. So we are crisscrossing our arms across our chest. We are tapping back and forth in no particular fashion, just back and forth. And we're taking deep breaths, focusing on that exhale and that bilateral movement. The breath helps calm our nervous system back down. This is a really good one.
We have a coach psychologist who comes to our camps and does a fear talk during our education stations on day 1. And I will, on day 2, I'll look around at different stations where people are learning and I'll see so many women tapping it out. And it feels silly at first, but I tell you, even I do it, it totally works. It stimulates both sides of the brain. It calms you down. You visualize what you want to have happen, and it snaps you out of that fear state. Y'all, these are real tools she is giving you to stop whatever you're doing that's bringing in fear and help release it. It takes practice. You can't just go, oh, I went to this seminar and now I'm not going to be scared anymore. You've got to practice these tools and you will start seeing results.
100%. And sometimes it seems too simple, but it's not. That's humans. We are simple and complex at the same time. I love that, adding the visualization to the butterfly hug. I haven't done that before, so that's new for me. But visualization is the last one on there. And it is so powerful. We can visualize ourselves crashing 100 times, and we probably do a couple times while we're riding. But if we can visualize ourselves doing something successfully and take that extra moment to do so and see what the process is that we're going through, that our body goes through, how that would feel, how that would look, what are the things that I would need to do moving into this to actually succeed, and let that soak in.
A big why it's so important too to take something like a skills camp is because once you learn the tools, like, okay, first, what are you scared of? I'm scared of going over the bars. I'm scared of crashing. When someone comes to a feature with me and they're like, oh, I don't know, that's scary, I want them to tell me what they're actually afraid of. Like, tell me very specifically what you're afraid of. Well, I don't want to go over the bars and smash my face. Okay, that's a very specific fear, right? What are the tools that you learned in your class today to prevent you from going over the bars? Looking where you want to go, maybe giving the bike a push, some direction. Then you fill your brain with those thoughts. This is what I need to do. That helps you visualize the success. It's hard to visualize success if you're standing at the top of a rock garden and you're looking down going, I don't know what to do here. I might die. But if you take it back a step and go, okay, I need to keep the wheels rolling forward. So don't grab a bunch of front brake when my front wheel hits a rock. I need to look where I need to go. So don't stare at something you don't want to crash into. And having that understanding of the skills required to get through something is going to help the brain stay focused on what needs to happen to move forward and not give it room to let those negative thoughts in. So this all kind of revolves around making sure that you have an understanding of what needs to happen so that the brain thinks of that and it doesn't think of what your face is going to look like if you flip over the bars in that rock garden, because that is not going to serve anybody.
Yes, 100%. And even I would say, like in those skills clinics, if you're having a hard time visualizing, you're watching other people do it successfully, which I think could be another powerful, like if you're having trouble visualizing it when somebody else is doing it, awesome. That's going to help you visualize yourself doing it. Okay. And that concludes the workshop portion of tonight's session. Thank you all so much for joining. We'll be staying on for a little bit after this, or I will, just to answer any questions. I didn't ask Lindsey. I'm sure Lindsey is going to be staying on for a little bit as well. And as a thank you, I want to tell you a little bit about what I do. So my Summit Society, what my coaching practice is. So I have just created a membership community called Summit Society. So we get together monthly for mind, body, spirit trainings, very much like this. We're talking about everything from finding your voice, imposter syndrome, and how that's showing up in self-doubt, to our unique bodies, nourishment needs, and movement needs. We then get together for a community integration call. Like we said, we can give you all these tips, all these tricks, all these things, but if we're not integrating those, nothing is happening. Nothing has changed since the training or the workshop. So these community integration calls are all about talking about how it went. How was it implementing that training? What went really well? What didn't go well? How can we pivot? How can we change? How can we share our experiences to help elevate our community? Then we have private groups, everything from an accountability circle to self-care Sundays, to meditation, to a book club that you can join. And then the community chat and connection platform to help connect you with others in the community. So you can learn more at samcrowcoaching.com. I will copy paste these into the chat, and you can sign up on the next link that I'll have on there. And I'm giving you all 50% off of your first month. This is a membership. You can join and cancel at any time. I've built it that way because sometimes you need more support in different seasons of your life. So this is a way for you to integrate it into your life when you need it the most. So if you use this code within the next 48 hours, you'll get 50% off your first month, which brings it down to $22 a month. And I will share these links in the chat, but I want to thank you all so much for coming tonight, for joining us, for being really excited and engaged about changing your mindset, overcoming these fears, because that is going to change your mountain biking the most. And just remember, integration is 90% of this. So all the notes that you took, if you need to rewatch this workshop, the recording, feel free to do so. But I really want you to put these into practice, everything from that breathing to that goal writing, to finding that mentor and being vulnerable and reaching out to somebody who can maybe help you in this, including Lindsey and Ladies All Ride, because that's going to help you get to the next level that you want to get to.
Oh, someone says the talk about being last made me cry in a good way.
Oh.
Yeah, y'all, stop punishing yourselves if you're last. It is not a big deal. Ride your ride. Enjoy the fact that you are out there mountain biking. Do you know how many people look at mountain bikers like we're some kind of crazy fools? When we all have the secret, we know that mountain biking enhances our lives mentally, physically, gets us outside, connects us with like-minded people. It doesn't matter what walk of life you come from, whether you're LGBTQ+, a woman of color, no matter what body shape you are, what size you are, what fitness level. none of that matters. What matters is that we're sharing a very unique sport that has so many beautiful components to it that there just shouldn't be room to beat yourself up because you're comparing yourself to the fast people. I mean, one of my friends is on here, Sarah, hello. And I know what you go through because the crowd she runs around in are gnarly mountain bikers, like pro level mountain bikers. So that feeling of not fitting in because everyone around you is so good needs to go away. They wouldn't invite you on their rides if they didn't want you there. And again, it really is about bonding with you and your bike and what you accomplish on your bike, and then celebrating with your friends afterwards. Even if it's 20 minutes after they all finish and had their burrito that you roll in, you still rode that same ride. You still breathed heavy. You still got stronger. You're doing it. And that is really something that needs to be celebrated. Mountain biking is such a rad sport that you should all high five yourselves for even doing it.
Yes. Yes.
That's all I have to say. You're freaking mountain bikers, and that's awesome.
Mhm. You don't need anything else. You don't have to be good to enjoy these things. You don't have to be the best to enjoy mountain biking. You can just simply get out there and do the thing. Thank you all so much.
All right, y'all. I'm out. Wait, yes, mountain biker at age 67. Yes, yes. Did you see my video of Addie, the 65-year-old, just gritting her teeth and crushing it? We get 70-year-olds, lots of 60-year-olds. And if they don't want to do something, they don't do it. And they don't punish themselves. They're like, I'm 65. I'm riding a mountain bike. I'm pretty badass. The rest of the ladies down at the bowling league don't mountain bike. You know, it's like, come on. We can all ride forever, but you got to be humble. It's a humbling sport. I am going to slow down as I get older. I tell you, at nearing 50, I am slowing down a little bit, and that's okay. I don't care. It's fine.
Yes. It looks like we have a few 60-year-olds.
Heck yeah. I love it. It's just a number. Keep moving. Keep doing it. And, you know, choose your trails. That's another thing about mountain biking. It doesn't have to be gnarly. So many people are like, oh, mountain biking's so gnarly. Come to Bend, Oregon. It's not that gnarly. You could ride there until you're 100. You just avoid the lava rock trails. There aren't many of them, you know. Choose trails that suit your riding ability. There was a time when I wanted to go hit all the big jumps on A-line at Whistler. And now when I case a jump and my knee explodes, it's not that fun. So I don't need to hit all the jumps on A-line anymore. I've gone back to crank it up where they're smaller jumps, and I clear them all, and I clear them with a little bit of style. And I'm super happy with that. I will always be working on my jumping, and I may quit one day when I get older. But again, it's okay. It's comparing ourselves to others that gets us in trouble.
Yeah.
Bottom line.
Watch how you're defining mountain biking. Are you defining it from somebody else's terms, from somebody else's style, from somebody else's mountain biking, and not your own? Not your own why, not your own desires, but from somebody else's that you think encapsulates mountain biking. Mountain biking, like Lindsey said, does not have to be gnarly.
It doesn't. And look at 67, 56, 57, 66, 59, 58, 64. You're all badass.
Yes.
Badass. That is awesome.
Yeah.
Don't let age define what you can and can't do. But we also have to be realistic. Do you really want to go hit a huge gap jump at 65? No. So don't put that expectation on yourself.
Yeah. Let's clear that table. Let's clear that plate, those expectations from our younger selves, from the other people that we feel like have these expectations for us, whatever it may be. Create your own dang expectations for yourself this season. What do you want to do? What's important to you? What would feel really good? Not just look really good.
You. All right, y'all. I'm out. Thanks for showing up.
Yes.
Love you all.